Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we're taking a look at the new extreme damage Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure in the US is a Walmart exclusive. It retails for $20, and I'll leave a link to Walmart's site down below in the description. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my friend Scott for sending this figure to me. I had no plans of picking this figure up. He ended up with two and offered to send one so I can review it, so thanks again, buddy. So the reason why I had no interest in getting this figure actually has nothing to do with the figure itself. I think it's a great toy. It's the way Walmart has handled the battle damage line over the last couple of years. They've barely shown any interest in supporting their own exclusive line. It all started way back when with the battle damage Plesiosaurus waves. That wave barely showed up on store shelves, a couple times online, and that was it. And then we roll into the Monolophosaurus Proceratosaurus wave. That wave did not see a US release. Those figures are really hard for collectors to get their hands on. And then we go to the infamous Battle Damage Spinosaurus release. If any Walmarts got that figure in, they only got 12 and they never reordered. That figure commands a huge price on the secondary market. Then we roll into the Albertosaurus 2.0, another one that never showed up in the States. And then finally, the Gasosaurus wave, which contained the first Gasosaurus figure ever released in figure form. Yet again, never showed up in the US. So yeah, I've been pretty salty about the battle damage line. It's just Walmart just shows no interest in supporting it. And then when they decided to grace us with the return of the line, they give us our 800 T-Rex. And that's why I'm a little salty towards this release. So in all honesty, I would love to see Walmart lose the battle damage line. I know that's never going to happen. That's just wishful thinking. It would be nice if another retailer could get the line, like maybe Amazon or like Entertainment Earth, someone that actually would stock it, and we can like not drive ourselves crazy trying to collect these figures. But like I said, it's just wishful thinking. It's probably never going to happen. So anyways, rant over, let's go over the packaging. So this figure comes in the Camp Cretaceous style packaging that we've been seeing for a while now. Probably won't be seeing it for too much longer. Camp Cretaceous Season 3 premieres in a couple weeks, and then we roll into Dino Escape. You got the new Extreme Damage logo on the bottom. You got Toro the Carnotaurus, the kids, Netflix logo up here, graphics showing how to activate that battle damage. And outside of the box, you got the rest of the kids and Bumpy, the fast-growing freak, and Kylosaurus. Back of the box, you get some nice pictures of the T-Rex showing off that articulated jaw, which is the huge selling point on this figure. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. So let's start with a 360-degree view of this new figure, and I do use the words new very loosely. This is just a slight retool of the Legacy Collection Rex mold that we've been seeing a lot over the last few years. You know, obviously the new parts on there is the fancy schmancy battle damage on the side, but the big selling point is this figure has the first fully articulated jaw on a Rex figure in the main line, and I think that is just a great touch. It just adds a lot more posability to the figure, you know, missing that action feature. And we've actually seen this mold quite a bit. I think this is like the 6th, maybe 7th version of this mold that we've seen since the line came out. So yeah, the Legacy T-Rex mold has definitely been banged more than a Ditto in a daycare. And I have to say, I do really like this figure. So yeah, thanks again, Scott, for sending it to me. The color scheme is pretty good. Mattel never seems to nail, you know, Rexy's look just perfectly. They always seem to give it a slight update. And then, you know, a couple months later, we get a new Rex with a slightly better paint job, but never quite hitting that movie accuracy mark. You know, it's just kind of like a drug dealer just giving a little taste at a time. You know, every time you go back, you get a slightly better experience. So let's just do a couple quick measurements. This figure is 19 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, and about 7 inches tall to the top of the head. So Rexy in Jurassic Park was around 40 feet long, so with those measurements, that put this figure in the 125 scale range. Alright, let's take a closer look at this figure, starting with this really nice head sculpt. Mattel really nailed the look of the JP Rex with their first figure. It even looks great from the front. You get that nice binocular vision. Then turn the figure over to the side. You can see you got that typical shading for the eye socket that we always see in the JP Rex. Eyes done in yellow with a black pupil. Teeth are nicely painted, and you know, for the big selling point on this figure, it is that fully articulated jaw, and you get some pretty wide mouth action. Then looking inside the mouth, you got a nicely textured tongue with a nice glossy coat to give it that wet look. Kind of wish it came with an articulated tongue like the Extreme Chopping, had that nice rubber tongue that stuck out, add a lot of character to that figure. And turn it over, you can see the roof of the mouth is also nicely sculpted with that nice glossy coat. And like I say, I really do like this articulated jaw. I would love to see like a retool of this figure without the battle damage with this articulation. And then going down to the neck, you can see the joints for the neck. You get some like up, down, and side to side movement. Then you got this nice dark coloration along the back that unfortunately stops right at the hips. That is a common problem with a lot of Mattel figures. They just don't want to paint the figures past the hip region. It would have been nice if this color palette extended down to at least halfway down the tail. I think the figure would have looked a lot nicer in my opinion. And then turn the figure over. You can see on the side has a nice cream coat. And since we have the figure turned over, here is the scan code for all you scan code fanatics. And turn the figure back over to the side. You can see the slits right here for the battle damage. All you need to do is push that button on the back, and boom, your Rexy has some nice damage on it. I gotta say, this feature works really, really well. Definitely like this. Definitely a cool touch. I like how every once in a while Mattel will add a new feature to the battle damage line. Definitely love it. And then going down to the arms, they can move forwards and backwards, and they have just a tiny bit of a pivot. Some figures have a better like swivel joint on here to allow you to swing the arms out. And looking at the arms, you can see the hand claws are not painted. It's pretty typical for Mattel. Go down to the legs. Nice big, huge, powerful legs. And speaking of big and huge, you get the giant honking feet that is pretty typical for Rex figures. I hope one day they just go back and resculpt the legs, give them a little bit more proportional feet, because Mattel has definitely gotten better, you know, giving their dinosaur figures proportional size feet, but it definitely helps greatly with stability. The toe claws are painted a nice glossy black. And then going down to the tail, you get some nice rotation. Tail comes separate. You just gotta push it into one-time connection. Once you get in, you ain't getting this tail out. You get some nice side to side, up and down, 360 degrees. For the hips, you get a nice pivot that help with a little bit of posing. You get a nice ankle rotation, and the legs can move backwards and forwards pretty far. There's a little locking notch to keep the legs in their neutral position. So yeah, all in all, a pretty cool looking Rex figure. All right, moving on with comparisons. First up, here it is with Dennis Nedry. I think the human figure scale really well with this Rex. And here it is with the new Savage Strike Velociraptor. And next up, here are all those cool battle damage figures that Walmart deprived us of. Here's the Albertosaurus, the Gasosaurus, the Monolophosaurus, and the Proceratosaurus. And here it is with the always too small Mattel Triceratops. Even though this battle damage one is one of the smaller T-Rex figures out there, this Triceratops is still way too small to scale with this figure. And here it is with the new Extreme Chopping Spinosaurus. And you can see the Spino dwarfs this Legacy Collection mold. And here it is with a couple other T-Rex figures. Here it is with the Bite and Fight T-Rex. You can see the Bite and Fight is a lot larger than the Legacy mold. And next up, here it is with the Epic Roaring T-Rex, which is currently my favorite T-Rex in the line. That is until the marginally improved, slightly better paint job comes out on the new Dino Escape one next month. So final thoughts on this new T-Rex. It's a great toy. The Legacy Collection mold has stood the test of time over the last few years. The articulated jaw is definitely a welcome addition. The Dino Damage feature works really well on this figure. It's definitely very unique, and I would like to see this figure retooled without the battle damage and released with this articulation. I think a lot of people will snap that figure up, and I wouldn't mind to see this, you know, sculpt like made slightly bigger to scale better with, you know, with the Spinosaurus and Indominus Rex. Maybe we'll see that somewhere down the line. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool T-Rex figures to pick from in this line. And like I said at the beginning of the review, this figure is exclusive to Walmart. I've seen this figure multiple times on store shelves. There's a link in the description to Walmart's site if you want to order one through them. So that will do it for the review. Looks like some of the new Dino Escape stuff should be shipping, I think, early June. I got my pre-orders already placed on Amazon. It looks like the first one that's probably going to ship is that new Dino Escape T-Rex. So we have a slightly better Rex to review very shortly. So be on the lookout for those upcoming reviews. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.